Hello, good evening, and welcome to the latest edition of Daily Record Hotline Live. It's got an international feel to it tonight. As you'll see, we are joined from Hampden by Scott McDermott and Andy Newport, who are there obviously ahead of Scotland's Nations League opener tonight against Poland. And we'll get on to that in a bit because there's much to discuss. I think the start of the show, though, news that's come out this afternoon, boys. Rangers released their squad for the Europa League, and there was no Danilo. And subsequent to that, we find out that Danilo has now went under the knife for a second time. So it appears, if it looks like a limp and it walks like it's got a limp, it's probably a limp. I mean, guys, the blows just keep on coming for Rangers and their supporters right now. But having been told a couple of weeks ago that Danilo would be fine and that he was ready to roll again, this one will come as a real blow, won't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it will. I mean, the information I'm told is that it's a fresh injury. Somebody's picked up in the training ground, so that will be a frustration for the guys there. I think you saw at times last season when he was fit and firing, he made Rangers look a much better team. He's a guy in terms of a striker, in terms of a link-up player. I think he's a far better operator than Cyril Dessers is at times. So, Philippe Clement would have been looking forward to getting him back in the team. It's just a sad fact that his injuries have really sort of taken a toll in his Rangers career so far. We're told it's only going to be 3, maybe 4 weeks. Maybe if he's unlucky, stretch into a 5th week, but he should be back within a month. That raises a question why they felt they need to leave him out at all, given if he's.
I was going to say, Andy. I mean, if he's going to be back in a month, why is he not in the squad?
I mean, that's the only question that Philippe Clement can answer. We'll obviously have to wait another week until we can put that to him. But for me, I think given that they've only really got Cyril Dessers and Igamani there as striking options, I'm not sure that's enough to get him through a campaign, especially if Cyril Dessers, he's going to play the majority of games. He's going to have to play all the domestic games going forward for the next few while, you'd imagine, given just how, short of fitness Igamani is by what we're told. That, you would think that it's a big gamble, especially you've got somebody like Kieran Dowell who's in the squad who, is so far out the picture as well. Why would you just not take a punt with somebody of Dino's class? But, they've obviously decided that he's a month out, so he's obviously going to miss that Lyon game at home, maybe obviously the Malmo game for starters as well. Then it's how long does it take him to get up to full speed? Might be halfway through the group before he's really ready to go. Can they afford to have a guy in the squad not contributing for half your group? So maybe they've just decided in that front. But for me, I think he would have been certainly worth the wait.
Yeah, I would have thought so. But I think it's important that we clarify, Andy, that Rangers are saying this is a fresh injury. So all the stuff about him limping into Hampden, what was it, the Dynamo Kiev match, they're saying it's not related to that.
What we were told today is that it was a fresh injury picked up in the training ground. I think it's the same knee. I think it's hence why he's needing to go back for a tidy up procedure or something like that. But he's obviously flown out to Holland to undergo some rehab. He's obviously his girlfriend's there. He previously stayed there when he was obviously playing with Feyenoord 20 Ajax, so he's comfortable out there. He's got physios out there that he's comfortable with. That's where he wants to go and spend his rehab. But they're insisting that it's not a long-term injury. This is just a short-term thing. They'll be back within, say, a month.
Jacko, the problem is something's just no felt quite right about Danilo for the start of the season. I know you're joking about the limping into Hampden and stuff like that, and I genuinely don't think there was anything in that. He obviously played a game after that, but it's more the fact that before that game that he started with St Johnstone in the Cup, game he started, I mean, before that, he couldn't even get off the bench for a minute. I mean, it was just very bizarre, where Philippe Clement was trying to rotate the rest of his squad during a busy early season schedule. Cyril Dessers was being asked to play 90 minutes almost every game. So it just hasn't felt quite right with Danilo. I don't even think in the game that he played the St Johnstone, I don't think he looked himself. I don't think he looked as sharp, didn't look 100% to me. He's obviously coming back for a long-term injury. But the big problem, as you've touched on, I mean, for Rangers to get into a Europa League campaign, we know how tough this group's going to be. Man U, Spurs, Lyon, Olympiacos, Nice. I mean, their striking options are basically Cyril Dessers and a young Moroccan striker that a fortnight ago wasn't ready to train with the first team. So how they're going to survive that? I mean, I put it to Philippe Clement pre-Old Firm game at the press conference. I asked him whether he thought the squad was strong enough, to basically mount a title challenge and get through that Europa League group, because he was speaking about how tough it was going to be. And essentially, he admitted it was going to be a huge challenge for that squad because it's so thin. And the only kind of reason he could come up with to suggest that they will be strong enough was that they were going to try and keep the players as fit as possible, and they were going to attempt to have less injuries than last season. But already we're talking about a Danilo injury. Rabbi Matondo's out the Europa League squad with an injury as well. Proper comes off at the weekend. I mean, it's not as if
Cortez is injured. Raskin's only just back. I mean,
so
what you're saying is the overhaul of the medical team hasn't worked out just as he was hoping.
Well, not so far. I mean, but listen, we kind of knew that anyway, because as Andy says, if Danilo's injury's a training ground knock, I mean, how can you? I don't know how you can prevent that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I understand, and I'm sure, that's exactly the case. But there is this feeling that I think I'm with you, Scott. I don't know if he's been right at any point. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have been getting more game time. And then you've got, even today in Blackburn, Todd Cantwell coming out and saying, well, my version of what happened and my conversation with the manager doesn't quite fit with the one that's coming out from the manager. I don't know. Everything just feels... It just feels as if fans are being left in the dark a little bit here. At a time when I think the very least the Rangers fans deserve is open transparency and honesty from the club on all levels and about all matters.
I tell you what fans would have wanted. In January, they wanted a new striker, and I think most of them wanted a Lawrence Shankland bid to go in to try and help them win a title. The club didn't do that. They went down a different route. They went and get Fabio Silva on loan. Clearly didn't work, as they kind of blew up in the title race. And I think this summer, albeit punters know that money was tight and there wasn't going to be a lot to spend. Obviously, Clement coming out every week saying people had to go before new guys came in. I might be wrong, but I think most supporters would have wanted another striker, and knowing Danilo's injury record, knowing that young Igamani clearly wasn't ready right away to hit the ground running at this level, this kind of first team level, I genuinely believe they would have tried to get another striker in. And the fact that they haven't, and they've now picked up this Danilo injury, as I said earlier, just leaves them, I think, getting into never mind the domestic fixtures, but getting into this European campaign with Dessers as your only...
We don't have the firepower. Yeah.
Only recognised centre forward. I mean, Igamani, I think Igamani's played most of his football in a wide area, albeit up front. So you're talking literally your only centre forward getting into the European campaign is Dessers.
And we come back to it in the summer. We go back to it in the summer. There was a move for Shankland was under consideration, but they went with Robin Proper instead. So, we've got one comment here from Jamie Thompson, who says everyone knows this Rangers team is well behind Celtic. That's down to directors' really bad decisions, poor leadership, Beale nightmare, Clement and his extension of contract. He goes on, Rangers supporters are now waiting for Europa League and more embarrassing performances, unacceptable. An unhappy Rangers fan, there's plenty of them, lads. But we'll move on from that, because obviously you are where you are for a reason tonight. We've got some comments on that as well, which we'll bring in. But before we get to them, guys, give us your predictions. What are you expecting to see tonight? What are you hoping to see tonight? What's the result going to be?
I'm going to go for a draw, and that's actually more optimistic than I have been in the last couple of days, as you've probably gauged on here. I think this is a really difficult group for Scotland. I think it's going to be a really difficult period coming out of the disastrous Euros, obviously in Germany. We saw firsthand. We know how tough this group's going to be. Portugal, Croatia, Poland. You said it last night, Jacko. This on paper looks like the most winnable tie. Maybe looks like the easiest game.
Well, it is. Yeah.
But I still think Poland will be very decent. And Scotland have got a few injuries. As I said, they're coming back after that disappointment in the summer. I said last night, I think fans will turn up here. I don't think they'll turn up in jovial mood and ready to bring the house down. I think they're going to sit and wait for a reaction, wait for a response, wait to be entertained.
Yeah.
If the team don't do that for the off, then I think it might be a struggle for them. But no, I'm going to be optimistic and think we can at least get this Nations League campaign off and running with a point.
I kind of think the same. I mean, I think the Euros, I mean, we all know that the fans had such a great time over there, but I get a feeling this tonight might have a bit of touchy hangover about it after what was a fairly sobering sort of week away in Germany. I just think that it feels like there was such a high for everyone getting to the Euros, and then you have such a difficult experience over there, and then you come back to the start of a qualifying campaign, and the tournament's so long away, and it feels like you're back at the bottom of the hill trying to climb up to the top of the peak. And I just wonder if that might just have a subduing effect in the crowd, the atmosphere, the team even. So I think a draw might be the best we can go for.
I think you're right, guys, and I think the supporters are going to turn up tonight still feeling a little bit let down, a little bit sore from what happened over the summer. That wasn't the Scotland they expected to see, and I think it became more difficult for them to watch when there were other smaller nations there that really were throwing punches at that tournament and we didn't. And I actually think there's the goodwill, and we often talk about the amount of goodwill there is towards the Scottish national side. I'm not sure that it's in great supply right now as we head into this match. I'll let you, for example, I also, by the way, tipped a 1-1 draw tonight, and I think that might be as good as we can get. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that we're all proved wrong, and that Scotland show a different side to them tonight, and that maybe Steve Clarke takes the handbrake off them. That's what I'm hoping for. But here we are, Andrew Young. The record sports team don't seem to have much love left for Clarke in Scotland. Wasn't that long ago you told us we were going to make history at the Euros? Scotty, that was you that said that, wasn't it?
What's that?
Sorry, Jack, so that's just the tannoy come on, so...
Yeah, I'm saying Andrew Young has said that it wasn't all that long ago you told us they were going to make history at the Euros. I said that was Scott McDermott said that.
Oh, that was you. Mr. President on Garnish.
Yeah, it might have been. Listen, I don't take it back. I went into that tournament really full of hope and expectation, but like the fans, it wasn't the Scotland side that I expected to see. It wasn't what we were hoping to see. What are you guys hoping to see tonight in terms of team selection, players that you're hoping we might get a look at in a Scotland shirt tonight? Is there anything in particular? I know, Scott, that you're crying out for.
Listen, there's still reason for optimism when you look at that midfield. I mean, I would expect the midfield tonight to be Billy Gilmour, Scott McTominay and John McGinn. I mean,
that's good midfield.
That's a very good midfield. I mean, McTominay and Gilmour, they've just got brilliant moves to Serie A, going to Napoli. And a lot of countries would be delighted with that three-man midfield. It's obviously what's known about that. Defensively, we struggled obviously in Germany. We spoke the other night about switching from a back five to a back four. I think he'll do that. For me, Scott McKenna has to play on the left side of that. And I would imagine it will be either Porteous or Ryan Porteous or John Souttar that partners him. I'd be surprised if Grant Hanley's in beside him, given given how his season's kind of started down at Norwich. In terms of fresh faces, I said the other night, I hope Max Johnson gets a start at right back, because I think he deserves it. I think he's exciting. Obviously missing Aaron Hickey and Nathan Patterson. We need the next one to come up, and Max Johnson is it. And obviously the other two, the two kind of newbies, if you like, are Ben Doak and Ryan Gold. So at different stages in their career, but both exciting, and I think could provide that wee spark that this crowd will be looking for tonight. However,
Andy,
the big caveat is Steve Clarke is one of the most pragmatic managers out there.
Cautious.
Stubborn. Is he going to start all three of them? I would doubt it.
Andy, what are you hoping for?
Point of view in terms of getting a bit of that goodwill back, getting a bit of that excitement back, then throwing a couple of new faces in might just be the thing, the spark that freshens it up and just gives the punters something to talk about, something new to talk about, and just brings a bit of that excitement back. I mean, I think we've all had that sort of drained out of us by what happened in Germany, so I think just giving them a new face, a Ben Doak, as Scott says, just might let them talk about that, let them get excited about a new player coming in, a Max Johnson, something different, just so that I think the danger is if they go out, they play the same way they did in Germany, and it's the same old faces that the fans have all seen before, then I think that's when things, the negativity can sort of creep in again.
Put it this way, see if it's a negative result tonight, the manager will get away with a lot more if he's gave these guys a game. If he sticks to the tried and tested, and it doesn't go well for them, and Ben Doak doesn't get any minutes, and Ryan Gold doesn't get on, I think that just piles on more criticism and more pressure on the manager.
Well, guys, here's a comment here from Andy Brown, who says, Dykes and Christie will learn nothing from this game. You hear me, Scotty?
Sorry, Jack, it's hard to hear. As I say, if he goes with Dykes and Christie and that, then they'll learn nothing for the game.
That's exactly it. That's exactly the point.
I think he's got a point. I mean, listen, we know what Lyndon Dykes can do up front, so why don't we try something? Different? I said the other night, Lyndon Dykes is, as much as I like him, and he's a great guy, he's been a great addition for us into the squad, but he's now dropped down to League One in England at Birmingham, so I think we need to look at other options. Personally, I would probably go with Shankland up front tonight. I know Fraser Wilson was saying the other night Tommy Conway has got a shout as well. I would play Shankland up front and try and get a bit of width and a bit of pace at either side of him if we can.
As much as I was
so Andy,
that it was important to throw some new faces, and I also think we all do need to remember just the importance of the Nation League and how crucial it's been to Scotland getting to big tournaments recently. Just having that safety net of the playoffs, if you can get it banked, obviously it depends on how you get on in the World Cup qualifiers, but these are the games you can experiment with them, but I don't think you can just discount them and throw them away and treat them like friendlies. They have got a worthwhile importance to Scotland, and they've got us to a major tournament before, but we don't look like we're getting anywhere near it, so I do think we have to treat the tournament with the respect it deserves, because it does have a big price for us, and you can't just totally experiment. I think you have to treat it seriously, so one or two changes, one or two fresh faces in, but I think Steve Clarke, he'll know the importance of sticking with the guys that have served him well over the course.
Yeah, well, look, I don't know if you can hear it properly, guys. I know you're having trouble with the tannoy system in the background, but we've got one here from another comment here from Brian Gray. This campaign has nightmare written all over it. Scotland will be lucky to end the group with a single point, and Clarke will limp on into the World Cup qualifiers knowing his time is up.
That's an important point, Jacko, because we touched on it last night. It's all right, Steve Clarke saying that he's earned the right to start that World Cup qualifying campaign, and he has. But if results don't go well starting here tonight, I think he'll be under major pressure, and I think SFA will be under major pressure, because I think the worst thing that can happen for everybody, that if this run continues, you allow the manager then to go into the World Cup qualifying campaign, you get 2 or 3 games in, it hasn't changed, and then you decide that they're going to need to get a new manager in. That's arguably the worst case scenario because the campaign might be gone already. That's why I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this Nations League campaign goes. I think he needs a couple of positive results to get back in the good books of the Tartan Army. And if he doesn't, as I say, we're going to Portugal this weekend. If he doesn't get a good result tonight, and you need to go to Portugal away in your next game, I think it brings a big pressure.
Yeah, and when you look at this group and the games that we've got coming up, as we've said at the start of this, Poland at Hampden is the most manageable match that we're likely to encounter in this section. So I think there's a huge importance to trying to get off to a positive start. There has to be, and you know, Andy's absolutely right in terms of the Nations League is an important competition for us, but the worry is that we've been in lower groups and lower pots, and we've been able to get good results and, you know, wins and points, and that got us into a good. I don't think the manager is looking at this run of games really believing that we're going to get a return of points that'll put us into the mix in terms of at the top of this table.
No, because he hinted at that at his press conference, didn't he? He was almost saying we'll try and use this to look at fresh ideas, bring a couple of new players in. But that'd be fine if we were in a good winning run and had a decent Euros. The problem is it's 1-1 in 12. The Euros in terms of the tournament was horrendous. So you're right. You said it earlier. There's not a lot of goodwill going about just now. So I don't think you can afford to just go on another run of 4 or 5 negative results, and suddenly that 1-1 in 12 becomes 1-1 in 15, 1-1 in 16.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you saw the importance of what keep building momentum did for us at the start of the last qualifying campaign, and then the turn of the year we have a couple of unlucky results against Spain, but you throw in some heavy defeats and some friendlies, and it just sort of sucked away all the confidence and all that momentum as I was talking about. So I think these are it's where sometimes the fixture list can work in your favour, and sometimes it can definitely work against you. And the fear is that obviously getting promoted it's obviously a prize for the good form that we've had in the last Nations League campaign, but you're now at that stage where you're playing tougher teams and it's harder to see where the results are going to come from. So you just hope that obviously when you get into next year's the actual traditional qualifying campaign, that we've still got a wee bit of confidence, a wee bit of belief, a wee bit of morale left in the squad, and it doesn't sap it away like as we saw in the build-up to the Euros. Let's be honest, Jacko. He just needs a win. It doesn't matter how it comes or who scores the goals. He badly needs a victory. 1-1 in 12. It was against Gibraltar, coming off the back of the summer. I don't think performance tonight matters that much if they win. Of course they want to play well, of course they want any new bodies that come in to show up well, but I think Steve Clarke and these fans just need a victory.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, I've just had a message in from Rangers saying that Danilo hasn't had a second bout of surgery, so he's just basically been wearing a knee brace just as a protection on his way over to Holland. So it's not a second surgery, so that should placate some of the Rangers fans in terms of their fears for him.
So it's not a tidy up bit of surgery, Andy. It's not. He doesn't need to go under a knife for a tidy up.
It's just basically a precaution with the brace when he's flying. Just I think because you're jumping about on an airplane. I think it's just basically just told it's not a second surgery. So that should certainly settle some minds.
Well, that comes as welcome relief to, I'm sure, the Rangers fans who might have been fearing the worst. It still doesn't explain why he's not in the squad for the Europa League, but there you go. In terms of talking about Rangers and the players, we've got one here from, I'm guessing this is a Rangers fan, Andy, a guy, Billy McPherson. Billy McPherson, for some reason, John Souttar can't seem to get a look in under Clarke. Yes, he might have a mistake in him, but nowhere near as many as Ryan Porteous.
I think he's got a point. I mean, I think John Souttar was very unlucky to miss out in the Euros squad.
Yeah.
Has he been brilliant for Rangers this season so far? Probably not, but he's fully fit. He's getting games under his belt, which he's always needed. And when you look at Scotland's defence and the options at centre-back, I don't think Ryan Porteous has played every game for Watford this season. So I said earlier, I think on the left side, Scott McKenna has to start. He's come into the Las Palmas team, playing in La Liga, played against Real Madrid last week and did well by all accounts. So I think he starts. It's just who partners him. And as I said, I think Porteous and Suter have both got a decent case. But the team should probably come out and Scott McKenna's not playing, so what do I know?
I think John Suter, the issue is if you look at his entire time at Rangers, he's never really had a settled partner. One week to the next, he's swapping about a centre-back. You always know that a centre-back's at his best when he knows the guy he's playing alongside inside out. So, obviously this season they've sort of settled him into Robin Proper. Those two are just starting to work each other out. But when you come to Scotland, the Scotland back three tends to change sort of week to week as well. So, I think from his point of view, go back to Rangers, get a settled period alongside Proper, hope that you can build up a partnership beside him, and then at least gives him a platform to come into Scotland and show his best form.
I think Suter and McKenna's a decent partnership for Scotland.
Yeah.
Suter's playing every week for Rangers, at a decent level, and as I say, McKenna's playing in La Liga. I think
and by the way,
balance there. I think both of them offer different things. I think they've got different attributes. So, as I say, given the fact we seem to be struggling a bit for centre backs, I know Jack Henry's knowing the squad this time. I'm sure he'll come back into it for the next break. But I think Suter and McKenna will be decent. I hope that's what it is tonight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you can safely say the two of them can play out from the back as well, which is an important part, isn't it? They're good distributors from the centre of the defence. I think that's pretty key, especially if you're playing going back to a back four. I think if your centre halves can play the ball out between them, that's a decent kind of platform.
Yeah, I think Suter probably better playing out than McKenna, but McKenna is more physical, better than me, I would say. So as I say, I think it's a decent mix and a nice balance there. It's just whether we're talking about how good the midfield is. It's just whether they've got enough protection. It'll be interesting to see the make-up in the midfield tonight. Who sits, who's given licence to go forward. Because when you do go to a back four, the two centre backs, you do need a bit of protection. And certainly if Lewandowski's starting tonight for Poland, they're going to need it.
Well, surely I would think if we're going to back four tonight, it's got to be Billy Gilmore and McTominay who would be your kind of more defensive two, with McGinn playing further up the park. You would have thought, huh?
You would think so. But I suppose you could argue McTominay's been really good at getting forward now and getting goals. So if you're asking him to be a sitter, you're maybe negating that threat slightly. But listen, who knows? He might go with Gilmore just sitting with McGinn and McTominay at either side.
I think McTominay's best form last year was when he was in that more advanced role. That's where he gets all his goals from. So
yeah, that's true.
I just think that where have you seen McTominay at his best for Scotland? Is that breaking those runs into the box and being a goal threat? I think you take that out of there, then I do think with a team that looks short on goals sometimes, so I don't think we can be turning our nose up at guys that get into the box and get shots on target.
No, agreed. Are we all agreed? Are all three of us agreed that we want to see Ben Doak in this starting 11?
Personally, I would throw him in on the right wing, or the right of the attack. Listen, he's not had a lot of football. That's the only thing. I don't know how much training he's had. Did he have a full pre-season with Liverpool? He's obviously went on loan now to Middlesbrough. So I'm not sure how much minutes he's got in his legs. Listen, only the manager and the staff will know that. But my instinct would be, as we talked about earlier, this crowd need a lift. They need somebody to get them off their seats, get them excited again. Doak has got electric pace, absolute searing pace, and we need to try and utilise that at some point. I'm not bothered about his age. I'm not bothered where he is in his career. We've lacked that electric pace in this Scotland team for quite a while.
He's young. He's young, but he's a potential game changer at this level. If he goes on to fulfil his potential. Andy, are you hoping that he's in that starting 11? You've got the team. Brilliant breaking news.
But we've got Angus Gunn in goals, Tony Ralston at right back, a centre back pairing of Hanley and McKenna, Andy Robertson's your left back and skipper. You've got Billy Gilmore and Kenny McLean as your sitting midfielders, John McGinn, McTominay, Ryan Christie's your three advanced midfielders with Lyndon Dykes up front.
Wow.
So he's done
Nothing that we've suggested.
He must have been listening into this and thought, I'm not going to do one single thing that they've told me to do. Honestly.
Wow.
So I stop and start again?
Oh, wow. I mean, this is unbelievable. Listen, who was our guy earlier? Said we won't learn a thing. I'm just trying to find what that comment was. There we go. I'm going to bring this up. Andy Brown. Clarke has to give the fans something to get excited about tonight. If he doesn't start with Ben Doak and Ryan Gold and goes with Dykes and Christie, we'll learn nothing from this game. He's actually seen your Dykes and Christie, raised you a Kenny McLean and a Grant Hanley.
Just, in all seriousness, it feels like we've been talking. You spoke last night about taking the handbrake off.
He's just put another one on.
Keep me a hold.
Welcome to Groundhog Day. That's the same team we've been watching for about 5 years.
That seems, listen, when they face it, that seems even more cautious, even more defensive than they've been previously. So
I'm struggling to believe it. I really am. I really believed that he would give the fans something. He would have to try and bring the fans with him, but it's almost as if he's gone into real stubborn mode here. This is my core group. They stay no matter what.
And you know what will probably happen after an hour? It'll be 0-0 with a goal down. Punters will be desperate for change, and he'll need to rely on guys, these kind of newer guys coming off the bench to make an impact. But listen, he's the manager. He knows a lot more than us, and he's nothing if not loyal to this group of players. So they're getting another crack at it tonight.
Stubborn is the word you use there, Keith, and it's the word that best sums him up. Now, sometimes stubbornness can be it can be a negative, but also can be a positive. Steve Clarke's going to have to hope that him sticking by the guys that have served him so well, it's going to continue to do that way. But it's what he says, if it gets off to a slow start and the fans get a wee bit angsty, then it's difficult to see how they're going to find that lineup acceptable. So
I just hope Jacko will no direct and it's long ball. I always think with Dykes in the team, there's that temptation to go long early, and that shouldn't be. But with this group of players, that shouldn't be what Scotland are all about. And he's not really get great pace either side of him. If it's McGinn and Christie, I know Christie likes to blow him on and get beyond a striker. He certainly did a few years ago. But even Ryan Christie, he's developed into a sitting midfielder at Bournemouth. I mean, that's not his game anymore domestically. So, as I say, I just hope the Dykes up top we aren't too direct and we don't go long too early, because I think that would be a bad start, and know that the punters are going to see.
Well, listen, I mean, I think if we go back to Munich in the first game of the Euros, that was the tactic. It was go long, and hopefully Ryan Christie can have the legs to get in and pick up the scraps, and it just didn't work. We're missing out the best part of our team. The best part of our team, I think, nobody would argue, is our midfield. That's our most talented department. If we start humping long balls over the top of their heads, it totally defeats the purpose. So you just hope that Steve Clarke has got a proper game plan in mind here. And by the way, it wouldn't be the first time that Steve Clarke got it right and we've all got it wrong, and he ends up getting a great performance and a great result. I really hope that happens, because see, after he's named that team tonight, if they go out and have a bad performance and we're under par and we look like we did at the Euros again, Steve Clarke's in a lot of trouble, I think, right at the start of this campaign.
Yeah, listen, it's okay for us to sit in here in the press box and say you should play Ben Doak and go all at attack and go for teams. Ultimately, Steve Clarke looked at Poland tonight, and whatever he's seen, he thinks that they're going to cause us problems. It's going to be a really difficult game, as we alluded to earlier in this group. So that's cautious, pragmatic, whatever it is. As you say, he's been known to get get decent results, possibly when his back's against the wall. This might be another one tonight. It might not be pretty. Looking at that team, obviously with Dykes up front, as I say, it might not be pretty, but if he gets a result, as I said earlier, who cares? Because they just need a victory.
Right, okay, lads, we're going to finish up and I'll let you get on with your more important stuff to do than speak to me. But before you go, now that you've seen the team, give me your scoreline tonight.
I'm fit with 1-1.
Yeah, well, listen, used to have went with 1-1, so just to be different, I'll go 2 each.
Yeah, I might be rethinking my prediction now that I've seen that team. No, I'll stick with 1-1 as well. All right, lads, listen, fingers crossed, you get a good game, we get a proper performance. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank all our viewers for sending in their comments, and please feel free to do so across all the social media platforms. And we'll be back and we'll do it all again this time tomorrow night. In fact, no, we won't, because it's Friday. It's the betting show tomorrow night. But at some point over the weekend, Scotty and I will be in a romantic liaison in Lisbon, and we'll be back to speak about what went on tonight and what's likely to go ahead when we face Portugal on Sunday night at Benfica Stadium. Thank you and good night, guys.